St James's Park is easily the best Premier League game I have been to by a long distance. I've had the great fortune to be at a lot of really important matches as a Celtic fan, and throughout, making content and doing some videos, I've had the pleasure of going to Spain to watch some matches, as well as nip over the border to catch some games in the Premier League. And whenever I'm going away, I'm always measuring everything against like a good night at Celtic Park, what the fans are like, what the atmosphere gives the pitch and the game, how it unfolds, and how, how all that good stuff can happen. And easily, I keep going to say easily, right? But see, when I went to Spain was very, very good for some different reasons. But St James's Park is the closest thing to Celtic Park I have found outside of Glasgow. And I had a great time there. The Geordies were all very, very welcoming. I was making lots of 10-second football pals on the way to the stadium, which I love doing, no matter where I'm going to watch football, camera or no camera, what's the score going to be the day? How do you think we'll line up? Have you seen the lineup for the other team? All that good jazz. The Geordies were really welcoming. I was in Shearer's Bar for a little bit as well. Didn't get to enjoy anything in there. I was looking for people who couldn't find them. But overall, fantastic experience. Highly, highly recommend. And Newcastle versus Man United is, for me, probably the best fixture to go and try and catch a Newcastle game for. But St James's Park, I'll try and get the edited cut so it looks really good. We can try and get some of the footage I captured when I was there. But the pre-game tifo was unreal. Everywhere around the stadium, there was flags, there was tifos, there was singing, there was chanting, all the way up to the to the first whistle, and all the way throughout the game. The fans were fantastic. I was really blown away that it not only matched my expectations and my hopes, but in a lot of ways it actually exceeded it. One thing that I'm always kind of, when I'm looking at other fans, when I'm going to visit other stadiums, is like songs and stuff, how much they sing. And Newcastle busted out a good couple of tunes with a good couple of verses and stuff like that. And the Man United fans up in the gods, there was a good bit of back and forth between Man United singing like Newcastle songs and Newcastle singing like anti-Man United songs. And I just loved that whole kind of flavour of, when things were going for and against each other on the pitch and stuff like that. A very good section Man United brought, and they were actually a very prominent, away fan. Fair play to them. They were very vocal and all the way through, even though their team was rotten. Brownie points to Man United fans that went to St James's Park and climbed however many stairs it must have took them to get up there to watch that. Because we'll be talking about that in the video today, guys. We'll be having a look at the game, how it kind of panned out, what I learned from the match, and what I kind of think now where Newcastle sit maybe a bit differently to before the game. Seeing some of these guys in the flesh is way better than watching them on telly. You know that, I know that, and now I've done it. It gives me a new perspective on everything, which is lovely. And I was wildly impressed with a few guys, and unfortunately, as ever with Newcastle, as soon as there's a bit of it feels that way. I've said this before in videos and you've shot me down, like, what are you talking about? But you get a good result and then something bad happens. We've got a big injury to a big player. We'll be talking about that and the potential outcomes of said moment. Now, when I went to the Newcastle game, I was actually there with 5 ticket giveaway winners, so if you like the content here, I'm actually on all social medias and I'm trying my best to grow all the channels that we've got. And thanks to all the support we get from Sorare, I'm trying to do ticket giveaways and do anything I can get my hands on to give away to you guys. So it might be Newcastle, it might be somewhere else in the Premier League, it might be somewhere in Europe. But if you're interested in, trying to win a free ticket and going to a match and all that good stuff, then be sure to subscribe to the channel. Of course, follow me on any social media that you tend to knock about for football content and that kind of stuff, And at any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do hit the like button, because the like button helps YouTube tell me and tell everyone else that this is a good video and you had a good fun while you were here. If you do laugh, learn, or like something while you're here, of course. And jump into the comment section and let me know if you watched the Newcastle Man United game, what your big takeaway was. For me, honestly, see, as a neutral, this is probably one of the most blood-boiling games I was at for what I kind of seen in front of me to be, and we've spoken about this recently on the channel, bullshit refereeing. Not just pish refereeing, but bullshit refereeing. We actually seen a bit of that in the Man City game, and I had steam coming out my ears about that. But yeah, anyway, guys, let's just get stuck straight into it. Newcastle lined up very predictably in this game, but the Man United team was very, very unpredicted, let's say. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Shaw, and Dalot making up the back four, with Mainu coming in to start again in midfield alongside McSauce and Fernandes. But the front three of Martial, Garnacho, and Rashford, it just really felt like wow, what a crap team they've laid out here. I know they've got some, like injuries and maybe some things that have maybe skewed a few of the selections, no Casemiro and, one or two other bits and bobs. But Man United can't win this game for me as soon as I seen the team. There's no way they're going to outscore Newcastle. And in midfield, from what I expected coming into this game, didn't see them doing anything in midfield. And, for me, very quickly, I think when you seen the pre-match build-up, Newcastle were walking a foot taller straight away from kickoff. All the passes from the Newcastle boys from the Toon were getting zipped about and played into space. And you've probably seen the breakdown of the match. You don't need me to tell you about how many times Livramento got away from Rashford down this side here. But for me, one of the big things about the defence, like Tino, as I say, has been given a lot of praise in the analysis. You don't need me to do that. Trippier was elite, elite. No two ways about that. But Fabian Schar, for me, was playing like Van Dijk. He was playing like an elite Champions League defender. He was walking into midfield. He was even getting into the final third in a few instances and playing some of those balls into the channel for guys like Gordon or playing it into Isak and whatever, and causing that cheat code, that overload that a team that's at home and confident should be doing to a team that's set up like Man United, that are set up to get, like, not a word of a lie, they were wasting time from like the 5th or 6th minute in the match. Man United were there to get a 0-0 draw, and you could really feel it from the outset. And a lot of teams in Newcastle situations sometimes don't have the bravery to go and just see the game for what it is. Forget that it's Man United and they've got red shirts on and they used to be something a while ago. See them as being a scared team. They're on the back foot. They really don't have much of a route to go and taking the game by the scruff of the neck. And I thought Schar was a fantastic leader at the back whenever, Man United did play some balls into some channels and whatever. And if he doesn't make the recovery runs and organise the defence, I think Man United might have had another opportunity or two in this game. But Schar, for me, was the biggest, wow, he's actually pretty amazing. I thought he was brilliant. He had a great game, certainly. And, the opposition is definitely it's Man United. It's a top Premier League club. These guys are not awful footballers, in real terms. They're still elite football players, although we don't think they're that great at the moment. So I think Schar's maybe a bit of an unsung hero in this game. And for me, he's probably been an unsung hero as an outside observer. So newfound appreciation for Big Fabs, certainly. Now, Bruno and Joelinton are expected to boss midfield, go box to box, dominate the ball, not let Bruno, McTominay, Mainu. This wee guy was actually kind of handy, quite nippy for the first 15 minutes, and then he get kind of snuffed out and replaced later on in the game by Amrabat, who was meant to be their saviour when they bought him. If you remember, when Man United bought Amrabat, he was the missing piece, remember? But anyway, that's all. Bruno and Joelinton, great. First time seeing them. Joelinton was much more mobile than I thought he might have been. He was peeling into channels as well as doing the whole box-to-box destroyer kind of thing. So really impressed with both of them. They kind of really delivered on expectations. But I've been really excited over the last couple of weeks since I think it was the Bournemouth game about Lewis Miley. Now, it was great to see him in this game play in this real box-to-box midfielder role here. He got a big chance missed in the game. He could have got a goal if he played his cards right. But in all areas of the pitch, whether it was in this kind of right offensive midfield position, in a wide area to either cause an overload and allow Trippier some more space or allow Almiron a channel to play into, Miley played way, 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 way above his years. This guy's 17, 18, something like that. And he's played less than 5 Premier League games, I'm going to say, to this point. I think he's made his Champions League debut by now, of course. But a guy that's so green behind the gills, you would not have known that watching this game. You would have, if you were a bit older with blurry vision, you would have mistaken this guy for a 28-year-old captain midfielder that had played at the club for ages. He just didn't ever look out of place, never panicked. First touch was immaculate. Pass was always the right thing to do. And like every young player, maybe there's a wee touch or two, a wee thing here or there where he gets caught or whatever. But honestly, he was the one where I was like, wow, it's incredible what he's doing on that pitch so early. And his name's Lewis Miley. If it was Pedri or Gavi or something like that, after 4 or 5 games, people would be going way more nuts about him. So huge admirer of this guy already. I'm really excited to watch how he flourishes this season and going forward from there. And as you guys all know, I'm a big fan of Isak and I'm a big fan of Almiron. They were great to see. But Anthony Gordon was the big one that I was hoping was going to be as good live as he's been on TV. He was going to keep up the form as well that he'd been in. Because, again, similarly to like I've said on the channel, you understand, players sometimes in this kind of form or this kind of stage of their career, the form can be hot and cold sometimes. But he was at it the whole game. He was nipping across the front line. He was playing give and goes with his teammates. He was peeling into the ball. Obviously, he gets the goal in the end, and the goal was amazing. He runs and he celebrates right in front of us all, where me and the competition winners were sitting. It was brilliant, honestly. It was a great moment. Julie deserved goal as well in the second half, and Gordon really was a guy that, again, along with Miley and along with Schar, like really stood out on the pitch. I think if you hadn't seen Newcastle before, you would be very impressed by everyone else I've not yet really mentioned in any detail. Livramento, of course, Trippier, Bruno, Joelinton, all fantastic. But for me, those were the guys that really were like, oh, wow, they're so... I've kind of explained it already. Onana got absolutely hounded in this game, and it was really funny. And as a fan, it was a lot of fun to participate in. And between Maguire, Shaw, Dalot, and Wan-Bissaka, like the defence felt isolated. Every one of them just felt like an individual defender against an Isak or an Almiron. And it really did play into Newcastle's hands because Newcastle don't have strength and depth. And oh my God, I heard the post-match comments from Ten Hag saying about when Man United have played, when Newcastle have played, and how Man United need to rotate more. I just thought, this guy is begging to get sacked. In the first half, like I mentioned, Man United were wasting time from the 8th minute. At the end of the first half, the referee added on 1 minute of added time, and there was easily 4 or 5 wasted by Onana, the defence, throw-ins, nonsense. Just when it was 0-0, they were just killing the clock as much as they could. Second half, they didn't do that anywhere near as much. There was no VAR calls, there was no real stop of play instances whatsoever, and he added on 9 minutes when Man United were losing 1-0 and they were making subs trying to change the game, and it just really stunk for me. I really didn't enjoy that. And being a Celtic fan, I really hate I've got that in my system already. I know I can see a referee coming when they're making some of these decisions, and like you can just see it, and it really irked me. But it was fantastic to see the Newcastle team make sure they got the result all the same. And again, long-standing subscribers of the channel will probably know I've been a long-standing critic of Eddie Howe, and honestly, every week at the moment he is just superseding expectations for me, and fantastic job him and the team are doing there to keep a really strong, vibrant 11 going against Man United, against Chelsea, against PSG in this current format that they're in. But like I said earlier in the video, guys, with good results, unfortunately with Newcastle this season, there does come bad news, and Eddie Pope has left this game with a dislocated shoulder. As I record to you today, it is reported it's going to be like 4 or 5 months he's going to be out, and already there's strong links to the likes of David De Gea, Aaron Ramsdale. I wouldn't be surprised if someone like a Keylor Navas maybe even come into the conversation as well. Now, Dubravka came on, and I think Dubravka is a decent enough Premier League goalkeeper to keep you going, but for 4 or 5 months, it's, obviously I totally have faith in whatever Eddie Howe and those guys are going to decide for what is good enough for that time period, because the way the team's performing and the results are getting, hey, they can kind of be the master of that. Like I say, guys, I've been quite critical on the business that's been done in the summer, and honestly, it's a big part of the reason I'm so impressed with what they're doing, because Newcastle have got no right to be pulling these results out with, on paper, the situation, the personnel they're having to play, and some of the, this game was brilliant. Isak up front, Gordon again out wide, and Almiron, a lot of round pegs and in round holes for this game, and I guess for Chelsea, when you're able to trust Livramento and Miley being the revelation that he is. Lascelles doing a handy enough, passable job, and Schar, I say, I obviously didn't know the guy, didn't know his game, that meme, but I do think, there's still some that business in the summer that could have been a bit better for balancing the squad out, because I don't think anyone could have mitigated for Miley. You can't mitigate for Tonali, of course. So that kind of bad twist of fortune and good twist of fate, they've kind of cancelled each other out, karma-wise. So that's good for Newcastle, of course. But I say, at the time when these things happen, and you look at the way the squad is built, and you lay the numbers out, like we're doing the tactics board, you see the positions of everyone, and it does look like midfield has been underserved. And I still expect Newcastle to still be looking to fill in the gaps of the spaces in the squad that we've itemised in previous videos, but the guys that they're able to play at the moment, they're not making subs. Newcastle, the first sub of the game they made was the goalkeeper, and I think Richie came on towards the end, and Richie only came on for a minute, so they're not using any subs, and I know that's brilliant that now Pep's doing it, Tuchel done it, it's maybe a bit of a vogue strategy for big squads anyway, but it's knife-edge stuff, so I'm really nervous still for Newcastle, I can't hide that. I'm cheering you on, but I've always wanted you to do well, I'm enjoying seeing you do well, and I'm glad I've made my St James's Park debut, and I feel like, I've got a better taste of what it's like to be a fan there and what the guys are like on the pitch as well. So I had a great time. Thanks for everyone that welcomed me. I had a fantastic time. Congratulations again to the competition winners. Thanks again to Sorare on Tour for supporting the channel and the giveaway and everything else in between, guys. Yeah, let me know your big takeaways from the game and everything else as well. It's a goalkeeper now that was really top of the January wish list, as well as maybe some of these other gaps that we were just speaking about. Let me know anything you want to comment on in the comment section of the video. I always look forward to hearing from the Geordies in the comment section of these videos. On screen there now is some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and retweet and all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.